It's time for another frozen pizza review, and this time we were shopping at the Winco grocery store, which is an employee-owned shopping market grocery store. I'll find the words. And they're mostly on the West Coast, I think, but they're expanding out, and it's a place where you have to bag your own groceries. They provide the bags, they don't charge you for them, but you gotta, at least here in Arizona, you gotta bag it yourself. And they don't take credit cards. You got to pay with a debit or cash only. So with that said, the prices are a little lower, and they have, the reason we go there is they have different items that Kroger and Walmart don't sell. It's a massive store. There's a lot of selection, and the prices are really good. So for example, we saw this Red Baron brick oven pizza, pretty standard frozen pizza. This one has pepperoni and jalapenos, and they call it sorta spicy. I'm about sort of spicy. I like the sound of that. Under $5 for this whole frozen pizza. And that sounded pretty good until I saw the single largest frozen pizza I've ever seen in a grocery store. That's Wild Mike's Ultimate Pizza for just a little over $1 more. Look at the amount of food you get by comparison. Let's see if I can line that up correctly. So it's significantly more pizza for just over $1 more. This is still under $6. So I'm going to save this one for next because I want to get to this one. And here's the thing. So here on the back of the box, it says preheat the oven to 400 degrees and then cook it in there for 14 to 18 minutes. That is a big pizza. But I had this theory. One of the things I'm finding now that I'm doing these pizza reviews and really thinking about it is I think where a lot of pizzas are losing the fight is in their toppings. And I've been theorizing this for a little bit, and I think well, let's just put it to the test. While I was there at Winco, I picked up some of my favorite pizza toppings when they're quality toppings. It can't just be any kind of mushroom, or, for example, I've got mushrooms here, or frozen and then thawed out later. It just ruins the toppings, at least in my experience, and particularly with vegetables. Now, because this already has pepperoni on it, I don't know that those are the pepperoni I'm gonna like. So if I want to control that, and I want to at least guarantee what's on the pizza is going to be good, then I'll get the pepperonis I like too. But we'll assume that these are going to be fine, and what I'll do, just to make the test as fair as possible, is we'll do like half of the pizza with the mushrooms, and I like green pepper. Now, of course, this does add to the cost, and you know, why are we doing frozen pizza? Probably because it's cheap, it's easy, it's quick. Well, it's only going to take a second to chop up this green pepper, and this is a large green pepper. This will top probably 4 or 5 pizzas, and this whole thing of mushrooms will probably top 4 or 5 pizzas. So if I spent $4 for these 2 items, divided by the 4 or 5 pizzas they're going to top, and it only adds about 50 cents to the cost of the pizza, and very little effort, by the way. It's still easy, but at least that way, if we get a good crust, and we get a good tomato sauce, and we have good cheese, well, then the other 50% of the pizza is in your hands. So if you don't like it, it's your fault. But of course, if you start with a base that's not good, then it doesn't matter what you put on top of it, other than it could make it slightly more palatable. So I want to try that theory. I want to try the pizza without my toppings on it, just to see on a scale of 1 to 10, and then try the same pizza on the other side of it with my preferred toppings, fresh, not frozen, and see if the score changes at all. If that's all we're doing is adding 2 things, will that make a difference in the score? Well, we're about to find out. Let's get this out of the box and see what it looks like. It says it's a 14-inch pizza, which is pretty much what restaurants serve. Oh wow, it's thicker than I thought it would be too. It's yeah, that's about that thick right there. And we've got, oh, crushed red peppers are included You know, I was also thinking the same thing. If you like your pizza to, like when I'm trying some of these pizzas and I think that they're a little bit sweet, maybe what I need to do is add some heat to kind of cut away the sweetness. And I do have crushed red peppers. I keep forgetting I have them. But here, this is a great reminder because this is a little baggie right here of Italian spice. So we can try that on the pizza as well. And there's a little baggie of crushed red pepper. That's great. I think this is a wonderful idea because now I don't have to worry about forgetting about them. And the pizza itself looks pretty much like it does on the box, only it's a little bit thicker. I thought it was going to be a thinner crust. This looks like more of a hand-tossed crust. I'm not sure what they're calling it on the box. They are saying it doesn't have any artificial flavors. And is that crust at all pre-cooked? Oh, losing my toppings. I think it might be a little pre-cooked. Let me go pop this in the oven. We'll come right back, see what it looks like. Oh, and I got to cut up my veggies and put that on half. And then we'll try both sides, and maybe we'll play with we definitely will play with these and see if it alters the score for better or for worse in the different configurations. And maybe that's the secret to having a good frozen pizza experience, if that's important to you. Right? If it's just, hey, I want as much food as I can get for $6, well, you're good to go. That problem's solved. But is it something you really look forward to and enjoy? That's what we're about to find out. So I'll be right back. Oh my gosh, you guys, you have to see this. Holy cow, it barely even fits on my cutting board. It really doesn't fit on the cutting board. All right, half and half, right? I added the mushrooms and green pepper to one half, and then just the pizza the way it came out of the oven there, and it's dripping on my floor. That's good to know. Let me step over here and save my floor. And wow, it's a little bit greasy, and it did take the full 18 minutes to cook. It said 14 to 18, and even after 18, I felt like the top wasn't quite done, but I did add a lot of stuff to the top. So I just finished it off for just under a minute with the broiler on, and that just perfect. As for the crust itself, looks pretty well cooked, if I can show it to you there. And it smells incredible, it looks incredible. Even while it was cooking, it was smelling incredible. But is this fool's gold? Fool's gold, you know, it looks like gold, it feels like gold, but it's just a rock. Could this be what we've been looking for, and at less than $6, plus adding our ingredients here to this other half? Will that make any difference in the score? So I think the first place we need to start is just taste it as is. I guess we'll get started here. This one right here looks like a plain, you know, without modification. We'll take the green pepper off because that would be cheating. Crust, it's a little bit like it's broken right there. It was firm, and then maybe I broke it, the weight of itself. Let's see what this is like. Wow. See all that cheese? Crust is crispy on the bottom, soft in the middle. As for a pepperoni pizza, it's probably on par with like Domino's or something, which I don't rate very highly. It's fine. There's nothing special about it. It just tastes like a generic pepperoni pizza that is good for frozen food in that they've given you so much cheese and so much pepperoni. But other than the quantity of it, the actual flavor of it is just pretty, I guess, what you'd imagine when you think of a pepperoni pizza from a fast food place. On a scale of 0 to 10, this pizza would be a 6.5. Now, what about adding some seasonings here? I think about this like ramen noodles, right? How many people would eat ramen if they didn't have the flavor packets? And I kind of feel like maybe the secret to the frozen pizza is the same as with ramen, that you have to add something. Not that you couldn't eat it plain, but it could be elevated quite a bit with very minor effort. So I want to test that theory out and see if I'm onto something here. So I don't know what Italian spice is, but we'll give it a little shake. You know, they don't give you a lot in these bags. It kind of just looks like Italian seasoning in the shakers that you can buy. What's the word? The spices that you buy at the grocery store. I guess that's all that is, but let's see if it makes any difference. Got a lot of tomato sauce on that one. Mm. It's still tasting like a generic cheap pizza place down the road, you know. Nowhere high end, you know, somewhere you go and take the kids to go get some wings and pizza kind of thing. Really cheap, very inexpensive is what I mean. It's fitting the profile. I'm starting to understand why it was priced for $6, which, by the way, still a lot cheaper than what the restaurant down the street will charge you for something very equivalent. All right, I like a little bit of spice, so we'll put some red pepper on there. And I would say it doesn't change anything. With the Italian spice, it's still 6.5. The red pepper does give it a little bit more of a tanginess, a little more of a bite. However, that doesn't raise it one iota for me on the score. It's still a 6.5. Okay, now look, these are my ideas and my ingredients, so I don't know how unbiased I can be with my own score, but I'm going to try and be as impartial as I can be to see if I made the pizza worse, better, or if it doesn't change the 6.5 score we've got so far by having a piece with the pepperoni and mushrooms that I've added. And unfortunately, this first piece I've got right here doesn't really have any mushroom there on that first bite. Let's go with this one right here. That made a big difference. I think having something, when you have few ingredients, the flavors of those ingredients are very bold. But if you can add some complementary but different flavoring to it, it helps take the focus off of basically the three ingredients we're working with is the tomato sauce, the cheese, and the pepperoni. The crust is kind of flavorless and it's a delivery mechanism. It adds a texture. So by adding two more ingredients, the mushrooms and the green pepper, we're sort of diluting the strength of that tomato sauce and pepperoni by adding in a little something else to give a little more perspective to the taste buds. So let me take another bite here. Grab some of these green peppers. The green pepper in particular. You see, the mushrooms are very earthy, so they're bringing an umami flavor that the pizza otherwise wouldn't have. And the green peppers have a bright bitterness to them that, in small doses, gives you that little zing, you know, just for the size of, you know, how little they are. This is a messy pizza. It's dripping everywhere. There's grease on my hand, and it dripped on the floor. So bear that in mind if you're going to make this. Have a lot of napkins handy. Be prepared. This, again, very similar to a restaurant where, you know, you're going to get a bunch of napkins. You're going to need some napkins with this one. Overall, with my toppings on it, I think that brings the pizza up to, I think it brings it up 2 points. I think it brings it to an 8.5. It makes that big of a difference. So for a few dollars to buy the fresh toppings, ones I know I like, to know that they're fresh and not frozen, to put on as much or as little of it as I want, we can absolutely raise the score of the pizza to bias it into our own personal taste preferences. And you can do that with any frozen pizza. So there you go. The Wild Mike's ultimate pepperoni pizza under $6 with a score from 6.5 to 8.5. That's my final answer. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.